call this August 13th Brown County Commission meeting to order. Commissioner Reese, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Morning, everyone.
Morning.
Morning. First item on the agenda, we have a first reading of Ordinance 140, the Coin rezone, Ordinance 141, the Muldown rezone, Ordinance 142, Fleece rezone, Ordinance 143, Bacon rezone, and Ordinance 144, Prairie Hills Farms rezone. Do we have any information that we have to pass along in this copy?
We'll have the first reading on these, it should have been individually. So we will start with the Coin rezone. First reading. Application has been made by Talisa Coin to the Brown County Board of Commissioners for a change of zoning, hearing to be held in the Commission Chambers, Courthouse Annex, Brown County, South Dakota on August 13, 2019 at 8:45 a.m. for the purpose of rezoning the following property from Chapter 4.06 Agricultural Preservation District to Chapter 4.07 Mini Agricultural District. Lot 1, BCPRL Edition in the northwest quarter of Section 29, T123 North, R64W of the 5th PM, Brown County, South Dakota, 38349 134th Street.
Move it.
Second. Moved by Sutton, second by Piker, to approve the first reading of Ordinance 140, a Coin rezone. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
We'll do Ordinance 141.
And if you just want to tell us what they're proposing going to and from to remind us, you don't have to read them all, do you?
Sure, we could do that.
Unless you don't want to.
This one is from Todd Muldoon, T&J Investments LLC, proposing to go from egg to mini egg. This is 12845 389th Avenue.
Move it. No, I'm not going to move it because I think
I'll move it.
associated with it. I'm going to abstain on that one.
Second.
Moved by Piker, second by Sutton, to approve the first reading of Ordinance 141, the Muldown rezone. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Abstain.
Okay, we will do Ordinance 142. And this one is Richard Fleece rezone. He's requesting agricultural preservation be rezoned to mini egg, and it's 405 46 131st Street.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Piker, second by Kipley, to approve the first reading of Ordinance 142, the Fleece rezone. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
We'll do Ordinance 143. This one is by Randy Bacon, asking to go from Agricultural Preservation District to Lakefront Residential. This is 379252 South Shore Drive.
Move. Second.
Moved by Sutton, second by Weiss, to approve the first reading of Ordinance 143, the Bacon rezone. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Well, I'll do Ordinance 144. This one is Prairie Hill Farms, and they are asking to go from Agricultural Preservation District to Mini Ag, and the physical address is 39816 126th Street.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Piker, second by Kipley, to authorize the first reading of Ordinance 144, Prairie Hills Farms rezone. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I think we're close enough. We're about a half minute away from Mr. Mike Workney, Aberdeen Development Corporation, to give us an update. Mike?
Super. Thanks, guys.
Morning.
Good morning, Mike.
Won't take up too much of your time, but just wanted to give a quick update on a couple things. Before I get into that, I just wanted to let you guys as commissioners know we work closely with a number of staff in this building, but a couple of areas that we work very closely with. One would be over in equalization. I just want to let you guys know that Gene and Russ are great to work with. They're very appreciative of, or I'm very appreciative of their efforts. They're very quick to respond to potential either business expansions or new businesses looking to come in here, and they do so with a high level of professionalism and are always willing to meet with people, so we certainly appreciate that. And you know, it seems like in today's world, all you ever hear about are the bad things, so I want to share some good things as well. We really do appreciate them. Then also working with Dirk and his crew on the highway stuff, anything, you know, from that department they're fantastic. Dirk is very responsive as well, and I know that companies appreciate his candor. You're not going to sugarcoat anything from Dirk, and that's appreciated. Just moves things along quicker. So just wanted to again let you guys know that we really appreciate those particular groups. In terms of at the Development Corporation, things are, you know, busy, obviously with uncertain economic times right now, and in the fifth year of a tough ag market. As all of you guys know, whether or not you think you're related to ag in some way, some shape or form, everybody is. And even though things are good, orders are good, production facilities are good, you still see some hesitancy of moving forward maybe on things that if we were in a great economy, you wouldn't have the hesitancy on. Around here, you know, people just were a little bit more conservative. People tighten their belt and they don't want to make poor decisions, which is good, because sometimes poor decisions can be really negative. But you also see some things where they probably could move forward if they chose to. When I, you know, give you a specific example, a couple companies out there looking at doing maybe not necessarily needing an addition, but upgrading some equipment. Doing some different things internally that nobody'd ever probably see or hear about. But when you do those things, lots of times they create some new jobs. And right now, a couple of instances that we've been working with for the past 12 to 18 months, they're just on hold. They're not canceled, they just don't want to move forward. And that's not a sign of a poor performance of the company. Actually, their profits continue to rise. It's just the conservative nature of how we do things around here, how we tend to do things. Overall, though, I think things are pretty good. I mean, you drive up and down 6th Avenue, you see some other components of the county, or in the city. The people are making investments, and they're making significant investments. And as I tell people, lately I've been quoted a few times, mostly correctly, or relatively close. You know, some people, when they see retail closing, that they go in full-out panic. It's important to remember that, you know, for instance, when a Herberger's closed, they didn't just close in Aberdeen, the whole company went away. That was a company issue, had nothing to do with Aberdeen. And there's a number of those instances that have taken place lately. And that's not unique just to Aberdeen, it's not unique just to South Dakota, it's really a kind of a worldwide phenomenon, just a change. And I think, you know, people say, well, what do we do about it? Well, the only thing I can tell you is there's nothing I can do about it. You just can't stop people from going out of town and buying things that they can buy here. So if you can buy it here, just encourage people to get it here. And I understand that certain things, although I think they're minimal, you can't buy here, then, you know, it is what it is. If it's not available and you need it, then you got to get it. Moving forward, the Development Corporation, we have tested and tried over the last about 6 months here something new in terms of a recruitment strategy. We went out, visited some key industry-specific trade shows, trying to get Aberdeen and South Dakota in front of some businesses. That's been somewhat, well, I would think that it would be successful. It's very interesting to hear the responses from certain people when you visit with them. Like, for instance, I had one guy, probably talked to him for 15 or 20 minutes. He seemed very interested, and then he looked at me and he said, now remind me, he goes, you said South Dakota, and I said, yes. And he goes, now that's in South America, right? And what was really funny about that is this dude was from Delaware, and was born and raised in the United States. So I don't know, maybe if they don't teach geography in Delaware or what, but we kind of just agreed, or I just kind of moved on and tried somebody else.
Mount Rushmore.
Yeah. But we have had some very good positive response from that. I think that's something we're going to continue. Our board asked me to try that. We simply need more contacts. I know some of these information has showed up in the paper, but just, you know, follow me on the map here on this, okay? So and this isn't us, this is, you know, us working with professional site consultants who do this all day long. But it takes 551 contacts to get 10 leads. So a contact in our world is more than just me meeting Dwayne at a trade show and saying, "Hi, Dwayne," and he says, "Hi, Mike," and we exchange business cards. We need to have some sort of discussion, you know, and then have some sort of follow-up. And then a lead would actually be where Dwayne says, "You know what, we are interested. Send me some more information. Let's continue to communicate. Maybe we get him to come out here. We start looking, you know, see if there's a potential match here." So it takes 551 contacts to get 10 leads. It takes 51 leads to get one project. So if you do the math, we need 2,755 contacts to get one project on a recruitment level. Now, of course, you know, at Development Corporation, I mean, everybody's constrained by staff. You know, there's 4 of us. So I go out and I meet at these trade shows, and I was moving at these trade shows and working, you know, from open to close, and you only have so much time, obviously. I worked hard this summer, and I got just under 500 contacts. So it's not going to be a quick process, is my point. It's going to take time. It requires patience. But how we look at everything is, you know, we're running a marathon here and not a sprint. And I think that's how you guys do things. I think I see the same thing from the city perspective is, you know, forward movement at a certain progression is very good and very exciting. And, you know, good things happen from that. The final thing that I would say this morning, and then open it up for any questions that anybody would have, is we need to remember that AGP first looked at Aberdeen in 2001. And they didn't actually sign on the dotted line to come here until 2015. So you build these relationships, you need to stay in contact. We have all that in place. We're going through all that right now, and we'll continue to go through that. You can do a lot of that with technology now, but it does take time and patience. And you know, that's where we're at. I think overall things are pretty solid. You know, Aberdeen will be just fine. We'll continue to move forward, and we appreciate working with you guys. You guys are all very helpful and always quick to respond as well. And we thank you for your past efforts, and look forward to continuing to work with you guys in the future. So if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them either now, or I think you guys all know where to find me or contact me as well.
You mean the guy from Delaware didn't know about pheasants?
Apparently not. Yeah, I'm not really sure I'm not sure if he knew a whole lot about anything. I'm not saying bad things about people from Delaware. I've met other people from Delaware who were really, really intelligent, but he wasn't one of them.
They have to change your ad campaign saying South Dakota is in the United States.
Yeah. Yeah, try something. Have to try something. So, any questions? Okay.
Good stuff.
Good
Good
work.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Enjoy the rest of the
Thank
day.
you. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks.
Mike.
Morning,
How are you?
everybody. Good.
Got a couple minutes here before
Yep.
we're... You got educational information for us there?
I don't know if it's educational.
Information.
I would have brought a picture book, I guess.
Oh.
No.
We had video for us earlier.
Yeah.
And colors.
I do.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. We're close enough. Next on our agenda, we have Mike Scott, landfill. Wood waste grinding contract, discuss fire station container site, and updates.
Yep. First thing is wood waste grinding, I guess. We got plenty of it to grind. In the past, we've used a different grinder than what I've got listed here, but I want to try somebody new. A little less rate, you get a little smaller piece of equipment, but I think we can still get the job done. So I'd like to move forward with this, just a little under 25,000.
Is there grant money for that?
No.
There isn't.
No.
There is for the tire, was there?
Tires, yeah, at times
No.
there's grant funds
Mhm.
for the tires, but not for wood waste. So,
What's the anticipation? How long does it take him to grind that?
well, he's gonna grind 75 hours and he's not gonna get it all done.
Okay.
But
Is there a way to know whether you're ahead of the game or behind the game with hiring a less?
Find out.
tons per hour, we'll find out. You know, he's probably 20 to 25 ton an hour versus 40, so it's pretty close. So we'll see. It should work. The previous grinder was gonna bump his rate up to around 780, almost 800 bucks an hour. So that's why I wanna try somebody new, so.
Is this grinded into the chips that
Yep.
sometimes the
Yep, we use
community
them at the
uses?
fair. Yep.
How many hours did we contract for last year? Do you remember?
I don't know, I can look.
That's fine, I'm just curious.
I don't remember. We ground just under $25,000 worth last year, too.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Does he run the magnet through to get stuff out then?
Yep.
You don't have to do
Yep,
that?
he's got a magnetic head. So,
Doesn't get all the steel.
it doesn't get all of it, plus
Yeah.
it doesn't get aluminum either.
Right.
So.
But we don't charge for it, so just get rid of it, right?
That's right.
Get what you pay for.
So anyway, I guess I'd recommend that we go with this grinding company, and he's ready to move and come today, so.
If that's your recommendation, you need a
Do we
motion?
need, yeah, do we need a motion?
Mm-hmm.
Move.
Second.
Second.
Move by Lee, second by Sutton to go with Mid-Minnesota Grinding and Mulch out of Alexander, Minnesota, to contract for 75 hours of grinding wood chips. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Second thing, fire station.
Thought that was a lot of questions.
I see you got your hag out, you're sweating.
Yeah, I'm ready, go. Fire station.
That is what it is.
I think it was last November, we looked at closing this site. We've kept it open this long. The $255,000, that's a rough estimate on what it would cost to there's a township or the township owns a property right behind the fire station. Dave's here, we've looked at it. It would work, trees to remove and a few other things, but the cost is there regardless where we go, as far as putting together another site similar to the fairgrounds.
Would we lease that property from the township, or would they donate it, or how
We
would that?
we would sign a deal.
No
Yeah.
cost?
Hot,
No cost?
no cost.
Right.
That's been there about 45 years at no cost,
Right.
you know.
So essentially, if we use it for that purpose, as long as we use it for
Yeah.
that, and whatever.
Well, you guys would have an awful lot of
Whatever improvements we make.
we-
would
we'd
be-
have-
stuff into it, you know what I mean, asphalt and
Yeah,
everything, you know, so,
Asphalt fencing, lighting,
right.
eventually.
access. Yes.
Well, does it have to start as a, pardon the expression, but does it have to start as a Taj Mahal? I mean, can't we
Nope.
start?
This is the extreme.
Yeah,
Oh.
exactly.
This is all the way to the top.
Okay.
Yeah.
So-
I mean, we've operated, the one out front of the station, there hasn't been pavement there for the trucks to
Nope.
run on.
Gravel.
It's gravel.
And so,
I mean, it could run on gravel, but we're always trying to blade it and keep the potholes out and water out, and it's just,
So
it's
for
a
the
lot
first year-
easier to clean up and maintain, obviously, with a solid surface.
So
Right.
first year you did site preparation and some gravel to at least have the space.
Right, we wouldn't do asphalt right away. We'd let
Probably a
things,
fence
right.
too, right?
we'd let things set.
Right. Make it a 2-year project, do the site preparation and gravel 1 year, and then maybe lights, fence the next year, and
Yeah. A guy
see
can work
see
it
if
in.
gravel's working, you know.
Yep, it
and does
does.
it have to, I mean, we don't have to have an engineer.
We don't have to.
Design it, I mean,
Like I said, these are the extremes.
Yep.
If you want to do it right, this is,
Well, I'm all for maintaining the site, but I think if we can do site preparation and gravel 1 year,
obviously we have
get it so it's usable, forego the engineering costs, which were substantial,
right.
and just go in and make it a usable space.
Without the engineering, you're at around 200 grand, that's with the asphalt.
Right.
And I mean, that other site, the one out front of the station, that had no fence around
Well, we
it.
took the fence down, but obviously they want fence, you know.
And to me, the one behind the station is a whole lot more protected than the one up front.
Oh,
Not
absolutely.
really once you take the trees out.
But you're not gonna take the trees out on the south side.
No,
No.
Yeah,
but the northwest wind.
You
Yeah,
still
you're,
gotta-
you're gonna wanna control the area. The only reason out front is because the access for the fire trucks as they continue to expand and
Up front, the
and all the rest
fence
of that.
just didn't work. It's more of an eyesore than what it was worth, so. Yep, and back, you would fence it and position the containers so.
So would it be the grass dumping has not been there for the last couple of years?
Just this year.
Oh, just this year?
Yep.
Has that worked out pretty good, Mike?
So far,
Yeah.
Well,
I don't-
To me, if somebody dumps grass or leaves in the ditch, it's a whole lot easier to take care of that than it is a refrigerator.
yeah.
Which they shouldn't be taken to the dumpster site
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah.
Yeah, right now I got 2 guys working Mondays and Fridays, and I almost need somebody full-time keeping these sites clean now, and it's just
Yep.
non-stop cleanup.
So is the mindset we are accepting the yard waste in the south one? Or when we open it, or we're only gonna have?
Only trash, no yard waste.
Okay. So on signage.
Everything consolidated just like anything else. If it's in one location, it's easier to monitor, it's easier to clean up, you don't have to, it's just easier in one location, so. The grass is working out fine.
Yeah, I was gonna say, has there really been a problem?
There's been obviously
The grass.
complaints, but there's,
Yeah.
with the grass up there, it's, you know, it's been working out fine.
Well, in our budget discussions, we talked about taking 100,000 and seeing where we can get the first year, and then adding to it as we go.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
that's
if
good
we
with
can,
you.
and obviously, some of this stuff can be done in-house, but whether it's us or, and obviously if we use highway, we have to pay them anyway.
Right.
So, we just will hire a contractor to assist us,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Sounds
And you heard
good.
them.
No, there's a trailer house sitting in the back there, is the township gonna move that, or what's
Well,
going
the fire department, I told them they may have to. They don't use it much.
How about tree removal?
That's one
That
thing
part of it.
we will have to do is tree removal, and once you get the trees out of there, you know, there really should be enough room.
Yeah.
You'll be surprised how it opens that up and,
Sounds like a Sunday afternoon project for the firemen, help take the trees out.
no.
Well, that's kind of where we're
So,
at.
yeah, I mean, if we can get things started and give, Dave met with them last night, right, John?
We just wanted to know, because the fire department, them people will be asking what's going on, because
Yeah.
it's been a year, you know.
Maybe our state's attorney's office could work up the lease.
We just want to make sure the time and investment we put into that property, you know,
Long
term.
we're not gonna,
Mhm.
you know, if it was something else we released and then we put in gravel and asphalt and prep the site, then,
That's why I kind of hate to spend a whole pile of money in there too, because, I mean, it's an outside chance that maybe the thing will go away, you know.
yeah, we
And then
rebid
don't-
this contract next year, so,
You know, we don't need to put a whole pile of money into it right off the bat, that's my feeling anyway.
I guess to start with, you know, obviously get the trees out, you know, we're gonna have to have some sort of survey done to figure out where our property boundaries are, and some sort of agreement with the township, and just follow the steps on down the line, so.
Well, I'm in favor of it.
There won't be an issue as far as easement to get back there on that
Well, I
property
don't
line?
know, I don't think
I've talked to
so.
Bob, I don't think there'll be any problem with
It
access.
sounds to me like you're gonna be right on the property.
We are, on the north side and the west side.
Well, let's get the legals figured out first, and then
Yep.
we'll proceed. So, Thank
But
you.
So if you were to...
We can start, you know, and get the legals done first to make sure everything's gonna work before we even do any work back there.
If you take the engineering cost and the pavement out, what are we looking at, about 135?
150, give or take.
I just did some rough math,
Yep.
it looks like about 135,000.
The biggest thing is be stripping the topsoil and getting some base material in there and go from there.
Lighting and security, 25 grand. What do we, isn't there, everything's already set in the front, do they have to run that to the back, or is there access to electricity in the back for setting lighting up, what do we?
You'd have to set,
It's gotta get
you'd have to run
extended
power
back
and...
Well, there is a pole back there, and it would be the north, be the southwest corner. That is the lot line too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That is the lot
Is
corner.
there light on that pole?
No, but there's electricity there, I'm sure, because I think it goes over to Jacobs or...
So it's right there, so.
And the
we
light,
have to run very
electricity,
far.
and security, you know, those
Yeah.
are numbers that were just,
Yeah,
That's an estimate.
Yeah.
you don't know
Yeah.
until you, but I'm assuming it's on the high side?
Well, like Commissioner Kipley said, you know, at this point, we're gonna budget probably about 105 for it next year. and
Yeah. Yeah, once we get the site set up and the gravel in there, we can always, you know, work the rest of it,
Make some improvements.
you know, a little bit at a time, so.
That's why we do lots of our projects, highway projects, you know, if you get federal money and time's an issue, you throw all kinds of stuff at it and get it done in a real short period of time.
Right.
Our situation, sometimes it takes us 2-3 years to get there.
You know, we can, obviously the landfill, the enterprise fund has the money to do it,
Yeah.
so
Or it
it's,
did.
it's not,
I know.
that it's not there,
Mhm.
so.
Yeah.
uh,
So that's what we're doing for budget purposes.
Right, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
our landfill enterprise fund has
Yeah.
the money to do it,
Yeah.
But is
so.
it a good investment?
So basically, it's to check on the,
Jump into it.
Right, I mean, a little bit of time is fine, but
Yeah.
we've got the funds, we've worked a lot of years to maintain these funds and keep them, so.
We'd rather spend 135 than 255, that's kind of the bottom line.
Yep, that's,
so two items up then would be survey to make sure lot lines are where they're at and make sure an easement is
yep,
approved.
something secured with the township to make sure we're
And once those two things are done, then it's kind of,
pop trees and get a contractor lined up to get things done.
Make sure you get the resources in the ground.
Be nice to get
Power
it done
the rest
before
of
the
it ahead of
winter
time.
kicks in here, so at least get the logistics worked out and get things.
Well, it's been a long time
On
coming,
track,
and it's
so.
frankly the best solution, and Brown County's kind of a unique situation with our dumpster sites. It's a bit of a pain, but by the same token, as opposed to doing that, having private haulers chasing all over the county,
Right.
following each other, beating up the roads, going to individual places and so forth, it's a different model. But there are some advantages that we kind of take for granted that we don't have to deal with as a
Absolutely.
result
Yeah, you get out in
of doing it this way.
any other less populated area, I mean, you got a dumpster sitting 10 miles away from the next location, so, we'll work with this and get
There
things.
probably isn't as many North Dakota dumpers down there as there is up at the fairgrounds.
Probably not. And it'll be
We got better cameras than the north.
it'll be less of an eyesore really than
Yeah,
anywhere
that's
else
a
you got to put it, it's not right there along the highway, so.
Well, the biggest thing, we're being good neighbors with
No.
the fire department there. It's
Well,
time.
It's
Yeah.
time to get it out from in front.
20
and-
years later.
I don't think we need a motion, do we, because it's in our budget?
No.
Okay.
We'll just get the process started,
Mhm.
and we'll go from there.
sounds good.
Been through the hoops.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mike.
Yeah. Appreciate the township stepping up and helping us out.
All right, just a couple other things.
It'll make all the users happy.
Yes.
I don't-
Are you a user?
I am a user.
I don't know about happy, but...
Well, better than going away
That's
altogether,
right.
Well, the grass is up north and, you know, we're trying to
Yep.
maintain the trash site down there, so.
I look at that pile up there and I say, man, that'd make a silage pile. I think
That grass?
Is there a way I could feed it to my cows? Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Yeah, we were out in Sundance, Wyoming this
Unbelievable.
past weekend, and there are so many bales dotting the countryside, you would not believe it.
Mm-hmm.
It's unbelievable how much
Green
hay is
from
out
here
there.
to the coast, all the way out.
But pre-cleanup starts August 23rd through September 7th. You approved that last week, waiving those fees. And we're assisting this week hauling trash from the fair, so.
Oh, well, thank
We
you.
do that every year, and it's a big job.
A lot of trash generated.
Yep, we're up there every morning, early, weekend early, so yeah, it's a lot of material to clean up and maintain, so.
So somebody brings it to the site.
Yeah,
and then you're
we've got
cleaning the
multiple
site.
containers up at the site.
Yeah.
We dump it at our fairgrounds container site next to the grass, and we use our payloader to load it into a 50-yard can, then transfer it out to the landfill.
And that's a full-time job.
It works, it's been working for us real well, so,
I suspect Dependable has to make more trips out there in Fairweek too to pick up the
I think actually during fair week, the trash actually slows down at the dump sites. For some reason.
Because everybody's at the
Because
fair.
everybody's at the fair.
Containers don't fill us in and out.
They don't fill as fast, and I think there's just a lot of traffic there that just keeps
About
the,
85-90% of the campers are from Brown County.
so, anyway, it works. So we're hauling trash today.
All right,
We've been
another
hauling-
question. Walk us through the life expectancy of our cells. Cell 1 was how many years? Cell 2?
I'd have to
cell
get the
3?
information in front of me.
Just approximate. The cells don't seem to be
They-
living as long.
Right,
This is good.
and that's got a lot to do with tons, and it's got a lot to do with the construction of the cell and how we're filling it. Cell 1, I think we dug in 2009. When was the next one? 13, and the one last year. So we've almost been in this cell about a year, and I would say another couple of years we'll be digging another cell.
It just seems to me like the engineers are telling us that they're gonna last longer than what they do. I guess that
I think at the start it was maybe a little bit longer, but I don't think it's really out of the ballpark as far as life expectancy.
The
of those
increase
cells.
in volume is what...
Yeah, we're up there at 60,000 ton, and it depends on the type of material.
Yep.
Then I suppose how much material you lay on top or have to put on top to
Soil,
hold
and
the,
that's always a minimum, you know, we're always concerned with that.
to hold the
so-
trash in there so
Yep.
it don't blow out.
Each cell is an identical size.
No. The first two cells were a little different because you've got that configuration and how that cell was constructed. The third cell was probably going to be one of our smaller ones. As we move forward, we should be able to get more up on top as we move forward because everything's coming back this way. So
That could be part of it then.
it is. It's where those cells lie in the process of the 12 that we're going to be constructing.
Sure.
So,
You can carry over from one to the next.
yep.
Sounds good.
So yeah,
We're not across the
and it's
road
always a
yet.
construction season issue too, as far as getting that done before that next
No, I understand it.
season is done. So it could maybe last another year and a half than it is, but in order to get that next stuff constructed and still have some buffer, you know, it's always that
Yeah, you gotta have...
that process
you
too.
still
So
have
you're
to
always a
replace-
year to year and a half out before that cell is actually full.
Right. And you got another one ready.
And you have to have that next one ready to go. So that's part of it too. So it's,
And there's no grant money for that project.
oh yeah, we've gotten grant funds. This last go around, it was, what, 240,000? So yeah, they're
Get some of our money back.
helping, and we are getting some grant funds to assist with that. So
A little bit helpful.
everything does. So,
All right, thank you.
all right,
Fall cleanup.
fall cleanup, here we come.
You know
Right
it.
after the fair.
You run a good operation, we appreciate it.
So,
Thanks, Mike.
all right, thank you.
Really appreciate
Thanks,
that fall cleanup.
What's that?
And the people really appreciate that fall cleanup.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
It's just as big as the spring.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Yep. Yep. We'll be in touch.
Yes, absolutely.
Next item.
We're behind now.
Hey,
Whose fault is that?
we're behind? Yeah.
Morning, Dirk.
Hi.
Morning, Dirk.
Where are you guys?
Good, how are you?
AM?
What do you say? Yeah.
Mike.
Yeah, after Mike. Yeah, it used to be AM.
You're pretty quick this morning.
I got up early.
Right-of-way occupancies today. The first one I got's from Northern Electric, and it's up on the state line. I think it's for Uncle Marvin, right, so I'm not sure, because it's
I better abstain then.
Good. A mile, it's right there, and he's the only farm in there, so. They're just boring under the road for electrical service. There's not a problem with it.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Sutton, second by Piker to approve the right-of-way from Northern Electric. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Yeah, two of them.
Yeah, just in case.
Start, Chuck.
Next one I got's for Mid-Continent for phone and fiber, and it's out along Prairiewood Road, basically just over from Roosevelt Street. Actually, we'll do them one at a time, but a couple of these from different companies are all in the same area, so there must be updating something or upsizing something in that area. But this is Midco, so this is cable and telecommunications, and they're just boring under the road in a couple spots and plowing a new line in there on the south ditch. I don't have a problem with it. It seems like it's kind of wet to me in there, but if they think they can get through there, that's fine.
Oh, second.
Was that, moved by Weiss, second by Sutton?
Oh, you did.
Great, how about
Do you follow up, I mean, as far as how they
Yep.
dig holes and stuff in there that they make sure and cover them?
Yep, yeah. The different companies, it kind of varies, and I'm not gonna say who right now, but you'd be surprised the one company's one of the biggest utility companies around here, is the only one that I've ever had trouble with. And part of that is, you know, they hire contractors to do the work, and, you know, I'm not gonna comment on how they inspect it and, you know, for quality control and stuff, but there are times you see some companies that have guys that are out there on site watching the contractor, and there's other companies where they're just going, so. But yeah, we do follow up. You know, unfortunately, like a lot of stuff, you're reacting, you drive by it a week later and go, well, that looks like hell, and then you go find who it was and run them down, but.
It's a constant. You get a contractor and a new operator, and he's out there and he just blades it in the hole and takes off.
Right.
Putting any of it, pushing it down and compacting it.
We had a motion and a second to approve the Midco boring. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
These next two are from Northern Valley. They're both for telecommunications. One's out here on Camino Royale again. It's just boring, 250 foot, what do you call that? Knifing it in, and then another bore going up, so, yeah, something along the county road there. And the last one is also Northern Valley. And this is Prairiewood Road. They don't have the old highway on it, but that's over here. And you can see they're just splitting. That's how they used to do the sewers in Mason City, where you ran the one line up there and then teed it or widened it off to each residence. But whenever that plugged, it was always the neighbor's fault. That really doesn't matter so much in telecommunications, but that's what they're basically doing, is putting one bore, and then each bore would serve two lots.
That's on Dakota or Roosevelt?
This is on Prairiewood, and then this would be between Dakota and the old Highway 10.
Move it. Second.
Moved by Sutton, second by Weiss, to approve the right-of-way for Northern Valley for some trenching on Prairiewood. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
That's all I got.
Yeah, whoops, I'm sorry.
All right. You guys have a good day.
I have a question for you.
Good try.
The wheel tax, and then the wheel tax special project. In our budget, we show 400,000 for wheel tax, and then 400,000 for wheel tax special project. Do you know the difference?
Nope.
Okay.
The only thing that, you know, the only thing that we ever tried to, I don't know about special projects or try to somehow define or anything, is the STIP money, the old federal highway money that we get $400,000 a year on. And then I'm not quite sure what the logic behind it was, because what ends up happening is, you know, if you're going to do $1 million project, with my budget, you're going to grab the 400 from, you know, you might use the 400 out of the STIP line, and then use another 500 out of construction project line to do that. In addition to that, if you're using asphalt to do whatever you're talking about, the asphalt's going to come out of the asphalt line. So what sort of ends up happening, and I'll be the first to tell you that I don't do a super job with line items, is that the construction project line, the STIP money line, and the asphalt money line, which the three of those is probably over $3 million. Those are the three main ones that you do your road projects with, because going into the year, I don't know for a fact that the Brown County's gonna pave Road 13, and that Leans is gonna pave Road 14, and that Jensen's is gonna, I don't know that at the start of the year. I know the roads we're gonna work on, but it's gonna be some combination of the county performing the work, which in that case, your wages come out of our payroll, and the asphalt comes out of the asphalt, and the trucking comes out of the trucks or the depreciation. If I suddenly say, okay, we don't have time because something comes up and we gotta, I don't know, go build a road at the fair for the buses or something, say, and I gotta hire Leans or somebody else to do our work, then in that case, all of the money, or part of the money, will either come out of the asphalt line for the asphalt and construction project line, or there's another one in there, something I don't have in front of me, there's something about roads, there's like $800,000 in there for hiring contractors. So it's always some combination of that, and it's not super well defined. In essence, if you had one line item that was just like construction work and had $5 million in it, it would sort of function the same way, but over the years I've split some of that stuff out. So like culverts used to be in there, signs used to be in there, all that stuff used to be just in one big line item, and it was a little harder to track, you know, your differences in managing your culverts from year to year and things like that, so we split them out. But if you go down the highway budget, whenever I've been administrating it, I don't do a super job with the exception of the wages. That's usually pretty close, and the equipment's pretty close. But the line items within the construction road work and the construction materials and supplies section, which is the, you know, about $7.5 million of the budget, that's sort of, you're kind of picking the parts out of there depending on, you know, I don't know if I'm answering your question very well. I don't know, I've never referred to any of that money that way, with the exception of the $400,000 that was STIP money. That's you know, that's our old federal highway money that just gets handed right to us now.
So right now, we're at $4 a wheel for up to 4 wheels.
Correct.
And with Senate Bill 1, we were allowed to go higher. Is that $5 or $6 up to 12?
Correct. So you can max it at $60 is the max. So $60.
So $5
any
a wheel
vehicle would be $5 a wheel, up to 12 wheels is the most. And the super single question used to come up. That is, super single is 1 wheel. It's not a, you know, it's, so there's a little bit of an advantage there. If you got a fleet of trucks and we're running super singles on them versus duals, you're going to get a little bit of tax savings, but it's a very specific window where that really would save you any money.
So right now it's capped at 16, and it could be at 60.
Correct.
Right.
On you know, obviously if you got
vehicle with enough wheels.
Right.
Correct. Up to 12.
Chevette's still going to be 16 or 20, depending if you go up to 5. You know. Right.
So it's not going to impact the passenger car
No,
much.
not at all.
You're going to get a little bit more out of the heavier trucks that should be paying more. So anyway, thank you. That's all I need to know.
Okay. Did I get unknowingly led down a path there or something? Or?
No.
Okay, I'm just checking.
Not yet.
You almost got
Almost,
lost.
yeah. If I start talking faster and faster, that means I'm getting lost. I'm going to try to talk my way out of it. No.
Well, just so it's not a surprise, we are
Yep.
having huge budget issues, and I know you've talked to a number of us commissioners about it, and
Really?
unfortunately, you're always the target because it's the only budget that we can take from, but everybody around this table wants to put as much in that budget as possible. So right now, we're $4 million short. So
Okay.
we're going to have to go through and make some additional cuts in the other departments and find some additional revenue, because I don't think anybody's satisfied right now with the preliminary budget we need to pass today. So,
There were some supplements previously that just aren't possible this year.
Yep. Well, I'm not going to stomp around and holler and yell and cry and beg. I mean,
We know that, and we appreciate that.
I'll, you know, we'll do good if it's $6 million worth of good stuff, or $5 million worth of good stuff, or whatever it is. And, you know, the other thing I'll add in is there's not really an easy solution to this. You know, we've managed to maintain the highway department decently over the last 20 years, and gained a lot of ground, and I don't know if Rachel asked me for an outline, I don't know if she passed around to everybody, and she thought it was Armageddon. I'm like, that's actually the watered down version. So there's some things like that, but it's not, the thing is, you can't just go, okay, we're gonna take $1 million, okay, and this is Dirk being opinionated, okay, just take it for whatever you want, but even to get where we are with the highway department, we've had to do a whole bunch of things. It isn't just one thing, we've eliminated the number of bridges we've had. We've upgraded some asphalt roads to gravel. We've done some blotters when we probably should have done some paving. We've put in culverts when we probably should have built a bridge, and you've been able to maintain that. And the same thing with the equipment. I mean, you two remember specifically what the equipment was like in the 90s. It was a shit show, and now we've spent 20 years and got things updated to the point that, believe it or not, getting butchered for 1 year isn't going to kill us because our inventories are decent, because our equipment is decent, and our bridges are way ahead. I mean, I don't know if that's even a compliment anymore given the bridge situation nationwide, but I don't know if it's good or not, but we're ahead of most data on our bridges. So like I indicated in that note, I mean, if we got to mortgage some stuff, we're gonna, but there's I can think of one bridge that one of you specifically called and asked me about. It's a little crappy bridge, and we were going to fix it, and as we sit here today, it indicated by what you guys are telling me, it's not going to get fixed now. And
well, you're obviously going to have to go more into a maintenance mode and not so much into a big project mode is what you're going to end up having to do. I don't think you'll have any choice.
Well, you just wind up deferring things.
There just isn't the money there to do a big road project someplace, which probably needs to be done, but if money ain't there, they're gonna...
Right, and it's all, I mean, we're sort of preaching to the choir here and trying to make this as gentle as possible, It's sort of like when you go in for an annual physical, I'm just going, but the thing is that eventually, I mean, it's not, I'm more worried about long term.
Yeah,
seriously,
absolutely.
1 year.
Absolutely.
1 year I can, stand out, and I'm not going to stand out and bitch and blame everything on everything. We're going to just do what we can do with it. But what I'm worried about is 3 years. 3 years of this, and we're just barely hanging on, and the bridge thing goes from adequate to really, really bad. We'll be like the state of Missouri where they just closed 300 bridges all of a sudden. And you want to talk about costs and inputs to egg production and everything else. You got to start driving an extra 4 miles to get to the bins. I mean, it's gonna end up being a struggle.
I have to add on 10 miles to my hay moving bill at $6 a loaded mile.
Sure.
Some of those guys are not very happy when I have to go around, and I'm directly affected by it a lot of times in the fall. Well, I think the big thing is, and we talked about this a little bit yesterday too, the possibility of going for an opt-out. And I don't know if, that we've never been able to accomplish that in Brown County because of a city vote, and the problem is the city depends pretty heavily on agriculture, on the people coming into the town to spend sales tax money too, and so, that's an option, the possibility of going for an opt-out and trying to come up with $1 million or whatever, and specifically for the highway department.
Just 2 comments about that, and again, I'm not an elected official, so I'm not as smart as you guys. Our population distribution in this county, I've talked with guys in Cottington County. I mean, you have the same challenge. If you have a county that your population somewhat distributed, I think about McPherson County, or I think about Hutchinson County of all places, but their population, they have a pocket of 3,000 people and 3,000 people here. So I'm completely devoid of the political discussion about it. Our population distribution, I don't see where that's going to work. That's my first comment. And not to sound like a complete knucklehead, but $1 million, you're talking about taking $4 million out of the highway department, but now we're going to opt out for $1 million. I mean, I can't believe I'm even going to say this, but I don't think that's worth the asking of what that's going to do to the whole situation. I mean, Now we're, you know what I mean? Now our ship's sinking, and, you know, well, here's a little bigger bucket to bail with, but your ship's still sinking.
So what's the solution?
Well, I think we gotta cut more this year. You know, you talked about 1 year, it's not a big deal, but we're looking at a big problem years down the road unless we can somehow get it under control now. And I'm not saying we can cure this with cuts, but little things that don't hurt now, and not saying, oh, well, it's only 10,000 here, or only 30,000 there. I mean, those things add up. So to tighten things here, and then look at our revenue sources, like you were talking. Nobody wants to raise the wheel tax, nobody wants to opt out, but we'll have to consider those things once we see where we are bare bones. You know, unfortunately, we've had to deficit spend in order to give our employees raises, things that we think are important, but now's the time that we have to look at the, you know, I think we're gonna have to look at it again. It's not ready to
Maybe it'd be easier to opt out for the sheriff's office and the jail, and maybe somehow a message to the city of Aberdeen that probably the higher percentage of law enforcement problems probably come right out of the population of the city, and not so much the population of the rural people that are paying big property taxes too.
Ask Cottington County how easy it is to opt out for a jail.
We haven't got it yet, have they?
That's where the money goes, right out of the highway department, right into the jail and the sheriff's office.
Taxpayers don't seem to
But,
care.
no, on the other hand, if you guys hadn't been doing this, the pay-as-you-go program, and I know the damn jail's full as soon as you get the new part of it done, but imagine if you had that hanging over the head of you too, if it wasn't just a little bit somewhat overcrowded. I mean, that could be a way worse situation.
That's coming, yeah.
You know,
But thank you for sending us, so we kind of have a picture of what 4 million would do. I mean, basically cut your budget in half if we have to do this.
all right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dirk.
Have
a good day.
Take care of things out the fair a little bit too and help it out there.
Yeah, we'll get them. If it ever not rain one time during the fair, that would just that alone.
Till Thursday.
Well, it's incredible what a little breeze in the sun will do.
Oh yeah, well, I laughed because we're out there this morning, you know, and if you get a bunch of water on that infield, you know, it just looks like, you know, it's the end of the world. Well, you go out there today and yeah, it's gooey, but you only,
Not that deep.
no, I mean, you go down a couple inches. So we're just trying to get a deal in there, and we got a hold of the fair board guys, and
When we get rich, we'll just concrete the whole thing.
We'll
you
take it
just
out
get
of
done
the-
telling me about $4 million.
We'll take it out of the highway budget.
Yeah.
When we get rich. Thanks, Dirk.
You know,
Next item.
That budget affects every other budget, and I've never had a time where we've asked for help somewhere else and he doesn't jump in. Well, I can take care of that or this, or kind of nice to have departments that do that.
Well, it's tough reminiscing, but 25 years ago and before, we were allowed the flexibility to adjust our mill rate. That all changed because people were upset about their property tax burden and stuff. And previous to that, especially in this county, the county commissioners were over-responsive to people's concerns and cries about property taxes and didn't take some increases when they should have, and it's left us short all the way along. And it just shows now that under the cap, we don't have the flexibility, even when we're willing to take the heat in order to do what we need to do for the responsibilities we have. We don't have the flexibility to do that.
Well, to be fair and honest about it, the counties never gave the property tax breaks, the state of South Dakota did.
Right.
And the counties are suffering for it. And then we got scolded by some of the legislators for even considering opposing the administration in Pierre for giving those property tax breaks because, you know, the counties got caught in the middle of it.
Well, we were
Plain and
capped.
simple.
We got capped, plus we lost $500,000.
We didn't do it.
The
The state
PPTR
did
money.
it to us.
Yeah, the PPTR money that was the solemn promise from the state we were gonna get. Anyway, enough reminiscing.
Well, moving right along, next item, the 2020 provisional budget, set public hearing date. Did you come up with the other numbers, or did I?
No, that's gonna take some time.
Okay.
To answer your question.
All we're doing today is just setting the
Yeah,
public
set the
hearing
hearing
date.
date.
So how did numbers come out?
Still working on
We're
it.
still working on that, so we'll have to.
Yeah, you'll see in the cover of your binders the hearing date schedule.
You sent that out in the email too, right?
Yeah.
There's the final number. I think we gave it to you.
I'll move the hearing date as proposed.
Second. which are,
I'll announce them as I go through here. You got them right here?
Well, yeah, we are going to have public hearings starting on September 3rd, and the last meeting for us to adopt the budget will be September 24th. So we can have 2 to 3 public hearings on the budget.
so the 3rd and 17th, since
Yep.
we don't meet on the 10th, right?
So these are the 17th. You want me to announce them first?
Well, we don't have to announce them until they get any public hearings.
Okay. We have a motion by Weiss, second by Sutton, to publish the hearing dates for the proposed budget. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
So we don't have to pass the preliminary?
Yeah, if you guys want to approve the preliminary budget for publication, and then you can do that as well, yeah.
I don't think anyone wants to. I think there's work to be done.
Do we have to, or do we want to?
Well, today is the day you have to approve the preliminary budget, and then you have until that last Tuesday to make any changes.
I'll move the provisional budget. Just to,
Moved by Sutton, second by Weiss, to approve the provisional budget.
Work in progress, and that's what it looks like today.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Is that a roll call?
Motion.
It'll be listed as a roll call, yeah.
Yeah, I'll vote in favor of it, boy.
We can make changes.
I
Yeah,
am
this is
concerned
just the
about the highway
provisional.
budget, there's no question.
nothing since we have to approve the final.
Nothing's gonna change dramatically from here to there.
Yep. Work in progress.
Does that take care of that then, Kathy, as far as your... Next item, we have Gary Vedder, Commissioners, discuss advertise for sealed bids for the Mellon Building.
I guess the time has come, so maybe we'll have to make a motion to declare the Millen Building as surplus and then decide when we want to open the sealed bids and if we want to do some open houses. I guess I'm kind of thinking we'd advertise, the 21st and 28th, so we'd probably be looking at September 10th maybe.
We don't meet on the 10th.
Oh, yeah, or then the 17th, and then we can do some open houses, maybe
The 10th, it's the 17th
State
we don't,
convention.
17th we don't meet.
Was it 17th?
So, yeah, I was thinking it was the
I'm sorry, I was a
third
week behind.
Yeah, I'm
Yep.
pretty sure it's the 17th.
Yep.
So maybe open them on the 10th
Sure.
and then have open houses maybe September, or Wednesday the 4th, that night after.
Would you want a little earlier if you're gonna open the bids on the 10th?
Well, we could, I mean, we could maybe do the 28th, 29th, whichever, maybe a Wednesday and maybe a Saturday morning, I don't know
think
how,
that would
if you
probably-
think we need to do it twice, or once is enough, or,
I suspect that, it's not like it's a residential, I would suspect that we wouldn't probably have to necessarily do a Saturday. Most people that are interested in a building like that would be
Business.
maybe a
business type thing.
Wednesday or Thursday night, maybe?
Yeah, I think,
Maybe Thursday the 29th, stay away from Wednesday's schools and all that
I
after
wonder
school
if you even
stuff.
need an open house. I mean,
You
you're
think?
you're only gonna have probably a
Just
small
do it by
handful of
appointment, maybe?
Yeah,
interested
that's what I was
people.
thinking.
I'd just do it by appointment, call you and
Okay,
stop over and lock it.
that'll work
Do
too.
one, Just because you might get people that, if you put a sign out there,
Yeah,
they're
well,
like,
that's
oh,
what I
they're
originally
selling
was
it. Let's do
thinking,
at least
maybe.
one, if you don't mind.
Oh, doesn't matter to me.
Maybe I'll plan on Thursday the 29th, and then, we'll get a sign, put
But
out.
like you said, I don't think it matters if it's evening or during the day, because whoever is, it's gonna be a business. They'll
Right.
Come whenever.
Sounds good. That's what we'll plan on then, September 10th, and then August 29th for an open house.
I'll make a motion, we declare the Millen Building surplus and schedule the open house dates.
Second.
we have a motion by Sutton, a second by Kipley to declare the Mellon Building surplus, set the dates for the open house, and also advertising for bids, sealed bids. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Anything else, Gary?
I think that's it for that item.
Next week?
Next week.
Yeah.
Kathy, you want to take care of 3-year things now?
Yeah, we have minutes from August 6th general meeting.
Move.
Second.
Moved by Sutton, second by Pfeiffer, to approve the minutes from the August 6th general meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Claims?
Move.
Second.
Moved by Pfeiffer, second by Kipley, to approve claims. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
HR report?
Move.
Second.
One thing on that I was just gonna bring up, we have not yet offered, I know I had expressed, not wanting to rehire one position, and I didn't know if anybody was interested in, looking at that, since it is considered a non-essential. It would save us some money that we could look at for next year. Just wanted to throw it out there again for reconsideration.
Where are they at? I mean, have they told that individual that they've got a job, I wonder, at this point?
Could probably ask Erica, but I'm sure they said pending today's approval.
Museum position.
Any employee, potential employee that I do offer the position to, I tell them it's contingent upon commission approval.
So it has been offered already?
It has been
Contingent?
offered, but contingent, yes. I do not know if she's put her notice in.
So I would offer that as an amendment. I'll throw it out there.
What was the wages on that approximately?
15, 17, I think, or something like that.
Is that a motion?
Yeah.
I'll second it.
$15.39 an hour.
It's not easy to do, and I know they could really use that person over there, but I think with what we're looking at and having to deal with this year, hard choices have to be made.
So we have a motion by Kipley to abandon the hiring of the museum assistant director. Is that what terminology I'd be using?
Office manager or
Office manager. And we have a second by Pfeiffer. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
No. Motion carries.
We have fair contracts.
Move.
Second.
Moved by Pfeiffer, second by Sutton, to approve the pair contracts. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Sheriff's report?
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Kipley, second by Sutton, to approve the sheriff's report. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Lottery permit?
Move.
Second.
Moved by Pfeiffer, second by Kipley, to approve the lottery permit.
I'm going to abstain from that. It's for the Aspire Foundation and president of the board.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? With Sutton abstaining.
I think that was the only one in there, wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
Yep. Just
Yeah, we have the South Dakota Public Assurance Alliance coverage agreement.
move.
Second.
Moved by Sutton, second by Kipley, to approve the South Dakota Public Assurance Alliance coverage agreement. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Legal assignments?
So move.
Second.
Moved by Pfeiffer, second by Weiss, to approve the legal assignments. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Peddler's license permit?
Is that annual?
Yeah. Well, no, this peddler's license, they set a certain time they will be soliciting in the county.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Kipley, second by Sutton, to approve the peddler's license
Oh,
permit.
one other question. If a person has the sign that says no solicitation, they have to abide by that?
I do not know that.
I
Yeah.
wasn't sure how those work.
I wonder if that,
Good luck.
There's not a lot of them around, but down south you'll see that a lot in the windows.
Keeps them from getting phone calls too, right?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Got anything else?
Nope, that's everything that we have.
I have one other item. 324 South 7th Street, tax deed property is ready to go, and I don't know what you want to do with it. If you want to just have Kathy auction it off, is probably the easiest with all the contents in it, and
What was that address?
324 South 7th Street.
324 Is there a
Down by-
house on it? Or is
Yeah,
it-
there's a house.
Yeah.
A little house, little lot,
Sort of.
Is it
Little
save
house
any,
that's full of stuff.
down by Dommy's.
does it save anything to advertise it together with Millum? Put them in the same ad?
There'll be different bid opening
Yeah,
dates and
Okay.
stuff, so
different
I would,
thing.
what I would recommend is let me look at the rest of our tax deed schedule for the whole year and just have one tax deed sale.
That's a
If
good
the rest
idea.
would all qualify, so.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just,
that
the
would
quicker
save.
we can do it, you know, they don't have to mow grass,
Yeah.
shovel
Mhm.
snow, any of that good stuff, so it's just,
Gonna happen, get it done.
yeah,
Yep.
good to get rid of them. We got 3 more empty lots that we just got a couple weeks ago too, so.
Yeah, if we get them stacked together.
Yeah.
How'd the Glanzer property go?
That is, I think, coming on Monday.
Oh, this Monday. I was thinking it was yesterday.
No,
Okay.
so yeah, we'll see how that goes. I think it'll be pretty good, but.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
I would, motion for executive session for personnel with Erica and the commissioners.
Second.
I have a motion by Ketley, to go into exec for personnel with Erica and the commissioners, second by Weiss. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion out of exec, and has no action as a result. And the exec was for personnel only.
And, Rochman State's Attorney stayed too.
Okay.
And now we're just basically waiting for the sheriff to come over. We got a couple questions.
Oh,
Okay, we are
fabulous.
back with we have some questions on JDC, Juvenile Detention Center. What's the effect that if Brown County decided to close our JDC and farm the people to a different county? Or also now that we hired this person that's going to be doing the alternative.
Oh, the JDAI.
She would have to find a source for these people or these kids to go to.
Just be the save for the cost, you know. I mean, I think it's like $230 a day, if I remember right, something like that, isn't it? You know more about
Yeah.
it.
Depending on where we go,
Yeah.
they have, Roberts is still going and they're about half price of everybody else. So I don't know if there's
Are they?
something, we might have to go tour it and see the facility, but
We're
it's
always open
crazy.
to suggestions, so.
Well, we know we'd have the cost of the incarceration and the transport,
Yeah.
but we're looking at a $976,000 budget in that department. And the personnel that are in there, if we could, you know, farm them out to jail, sheriff, communications, wherever they may be a good fit. We're not trying to eliminate jobs, but maybe take those positions, farm them out to other departments, and eliminate close to $1 million
You're good.
budget item, knowing that we'll still have some expenses.
But as just, you know, the volume and the diversionary opportunities are there and so forth.
Well, I
looking-
can get that
looking
figured
at
out
that
now for you
stuff.
next week. You know, just show you what we have,
Yep.
what we
Mhm.
pulled, what it would be like if we did it for, what it was like for last year in 2018 or something. See what the expenses would have been.
So you
Look
get
at them on there.
you get a day-to-day, little bit of
Yeah.
difference in things, because you
Oh,
don't
yeah.
have the sight and sound separation thing you gotta deal with, and the education component, if the numbers aren't there
Okay.
for, you know, a whole variety of reasons, between, like I
Is there-
said, the diversion and the rest of
Yeah.
that kind of stuff, and, you know, free you up, you know, to utilize that space a little bit differently if you
Sure.
get, you know, variations in population and that type of thing, just as a thought process.
Because the budget item for transferring to Fulton went up so much, is that mostly women going down there, men, or is it?
Usually women, yeah.
So would
for
that,
sure.
that'd be good for alleviating some of that pressure.
Yeah.
As a possibility.
So has there been any communication? I mean, who's going to communicate with Sisseton or that area, that JDC facility there, as far as, you know, whether they'd even be interested in
I can do
taking
all that if you.
taking Brown County's
I'm
JD,
talking to
you know,
them.
Mhm.
juveniles, or whether or not
If they have room for us.
whether they got room for us, or whether or not they even want us, or whether it's something we would even want.
I'll talk to the sheriff. I can get you something by next week, that's good.
That'd be good.
Absolutely.
They haven't had
We
one.
need to know that too.
No.
Exploring all options.
That was my guy, I think our corn's ready.
Hang up on
him.
No, he was calling.
That's right.
Where do you get it, Mark?
Craig shot him.
Oh, sure.
Just out.
Yeah.
You should have taken it for free.
No,
Have you set a date for the feed?
I might
Working
find out
on it.
here.
Oh,
You just let me know when
Well,
it's
we'll
done.
wait.
Yeah, first things first.
This is most important business.
So in your opinion, under the budget restraints that we're having right now, what are your thoughts on JDC? I mean, do you see it possibly working to move the juveniles to a
No,
different
everything's a
site?
possibility, absolutely. I think we just look at the dollars amount and figure out what's the best way to do it. I'm always open to anything.
If you have those numbers, then we can figure out what we'd have to leave in there for a budget for the, the cost and the transportation,
Yeah.
knowing that we're gonna have it.
Yeah.
You can't predict the future, but how many days,
Yep.
do you have and what's it cost to sort of this way or
We
this
just
way?
get an average, just if I could just use 2018 and then the first 6 months of 19 probably.
Yep.
Mhm.
And that way they'll give us a good indication of where we're at and where we're heading, because I don't think it's been pretty average, I think.
I
Kind of
don't,
look at what we got, what the income is that we brought in with us and
Yeah.
get all those figures too, so. But if next Tuesday's okay, I can do it.
Yeah.
I can make an appointment anyway to talk about the jail. We've got 2 people that are leaving. I think I mentioned that, military leave, be gone for almost a year,
Right,
so.
yep.
Out of the jail, one's a supervisor and one's a deputy, so, or senior guy, so. But I'll get it together and more next week.
JDC staff, are any of those certified law enforcement?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
So,
Well,
very
you would do that.
considerations, but
We'd appreciate it, and that kind of gives us just something to look at. And
Not a problem.
here's
Get done.
JDC rates.
Okay.
So Sioux Falls, Gary did some research for us. We charge $220 a day
Yeah.
for juveniles to come in. Roberts is $140 currently. Hughes is $295.
Yeah, it's just varied so much that we kind of went with an average, figuring, it used to be really low, and then, I won't get into it, but we had a governor that, we had something a year ago, and so I changed it. and
Yeah.
Didn't like it,
Mhm.
so. You remember that, I'm sure.
I do.
Okay.
All right.
Couple of
Okay.
phone calls.
Thank
appreciate it, Mark.
Thanks,
you.
Mark, appreciate it.
I'll be back in a couple minutes to tell you if it's...
Oh, if the warrant feed is on?
Hey, give us a date, yeah.
then we can get Shannon to put it in the paper right away.
It's not open to the public.
Whole county got
Well,
I forgot to buy license plates for pickup, and I drove it 2 months
Well,
without
wait,
plates on it.
depending on, you could.
I saved some money.
You're lucky, yeah.
Anything else come before the commission?
Well, and, yeah.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Moved by Todd, second by
Right.
Flacker to adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Yeah.
We are